Good morning, good evening, good day, and welcome to Dramabuds. I'm Francine, I really love K-dramas, and I'm going to spend as much time as I want talking about them. Welcome to my podcast. So, hello everyone. On today's episode, we are going to talk about my favorite K-drama couples. So you may ask how we ended up on this topic. I'm currently watching Fight for My Way, the one with Park Seo-joon and Kim Ji-won. I like it so far. I don't think it's absolutely stellar writing, though there are some really good moments, and I do enjoy the journeys of the characters and all that. The couple also has good chemistry, though I don't completely love their dynamic. Watching this show, it made me realize I really don't like rom-coms. I find their issues to be so contrived, and most of the time it's always a will they, won't they. And if they get together early, they're bound to break up for some dumb reason. I don't know in Fight for My Way, by the way. I'm only in episode 12 or 13, so I don't know. But maybe that's how it's going to end up. A lot of shows tend to do that. In a way, that's kind of why I was okay with the relationship and be melodramatic. Because they got together early, yeah. But after, there wasn't any stupid angst, any, episode 15 breakup, and then episode 16 they get back together. It was all chill, very professional. It was good. It was well done, I guess. Better than most rom-com relationships. But then again, Be Mellow was not a rom-com. In general, I just don't find rom-com tropes and relationships cute. Even if I know I'm supposed to. I know I'm supposed to root for these couples and be super happy, and the Filipino word is kilig. I'm supposed to feel kilig, that giddy, happy feeling of love and all that. But I just don't. I just find it annoying. And rom-coms take so much time in getting the main couple together. But if you strip away the romance plotline, what else is there? At least in Fight for My Way, they do have their internal struggles and their career stuff. And at some points in the story, those are prioritized. That's the main focus of the story at this point. And, currently I'm at the point where the romance is being prioritized. They're finally going for it. But I'm sure that after they finally go for it, it'll be there, yeah. But we're going to go back to the career stuff, which is great. I like that. Other rom-coms have some fantasy aspect or, external stuff that's keeping them from being together. But that's it. And sure, if I look deeper and if I actually finished any of the rom-coms I started, maybe I would see some other internal journey. Maybe it's not as shallow as I initially thought it was in the first few episodes or so. But as it stands, I don't like rom-coms. Probably because it's the most popular genre for casual K-drama watchers. You know what casual watchers are. And before I became a fan of K-dramas, it's what I stereotyped all K-dramas were. I thought, all K-dramas are just about, the cheesy romantic stuff and just being cute and all that's just not for me. And then, I discovered the wonderful world of slice of life and sadness. And I'm hooked. I'm here. So before I became a fan, I thought all K-dramas were just rom-coms, but I was very much wrong. So back to Fight for My Way. I like the couple there because they hit the two most important criteria for me. One, I should want to root for them to be together and as individuals as much as possible. And two, they should have chemistry. It's okay, for the first one, I root for them because I like friends to lovers. Even if some aspects of their dynamic is annoying to me, I was still okay with the relationship in general. And most importantly, they thoroughly addressed, crossing the line from friends to lovers. Like, what prevented them from doing it before? And what makes this the final push? Like, this is it. This is really when we're finally going to be lovers. Instead of like, it's so sudden as if they've never had those feelings before. I hate it. I hate it when they've never had inklings of feelings, because what makes this time different? Like, what changed? Something huge must have changed for you to suddenly consider this, the right time, or to find that opportunity, or to discover these feelings. But if you've never had these feelings and you've never hidden it all these years and all that, like, where is it coming from? Okay, back to the chemistry. Chemistry-wise, Park Seo-joon and Kim Ji-won are just both good at it. Like, they're not afraid of getting close to their co-stars, so it never looks awkward. You know those actors that, like, they just look awkward when they have to act. Like, that they're in love with someone. They're just afraid of skinship and all that. It looks awkward. But with Park Seo-joon and Kim Ji-won, they're just all in all the time. I love that. Although putting them together, the combination here was not as explosive as I expected. So, back. Given my dislike of rom-coms, I started thinking about, the couples that I actually liked. The couples that I liked the most, and where they came from. Like, what show, what kind of show, what genre, what are their stories? Like, why did I end up becoming invested in them? Spoiler alert, none of these are full rom-coms, because I just don't watch rom-coms. I focused more on the couples with good stories who I rooted for. I didn't focus too much on chemistry, especially not those like real to real couples, the co-stars that eventually started dating and all that. Because I think their real life chemistry might have just masked a bad story. That's something that I'm very careful about. But let's go. So our first couple today is Lee Jun and Chae from Hospital Playlist. I felt like it would be appropriate to start with the show and the couple that started it all for me. This is the friends to lovers story that I love the most. Because, like, think about it. What kept them apart, right? After 20 years of friendship, why didn't they just go for it from the get-go? At first, it was, their friendships, like with Seokyoung and the group dynamic in general, right? And then, Ik-jun got married, and then he had a wife and a child. And you'd think, okay, that's the ultimate sign that this is just what might have been. Just something to be left behind in the past, because it's over now. He's got his end game. But alas, now Ik-jun's divorced. Song was single. If he's considering Uju would have no problem with Songwa, right? And their friends, they're all busy with their own lives and their own relationships and whatever. And between the two of them, those feelings have always been there. But the timing was never right until now. And if you think about the two of them, their relationship with each other, their friendship with each other is genuine. Like, they didn't just become friends to hit on each other. Surely, even though, like, we've had inklings that Song has liked him from the moment she saw him in that shed. Or also for him, he might have also liked her since then. We don't know. But throughout all these years, the friendship was genuine. They weren't waiting. Like, she wasn't waiting for, the wife to be out of the picture and all that. Like, there was no waiting here. They were just living their lives comfortably by each other's side as friends. That was genuine. And after all these years, they truly know each other. So now, right now, what is stopping them right at this moment? Gosh, their story, it's not like the friends to lovers struggle and fight for my way. Because, Ik-song, that's their ship name, by the way. Yes, let's go Ik-song. They're older, right? Of course. And they're more mature. And they have more people to consider than just themselves and their feelings. That's what makes it a bit more complicated. But then, sometimes when you're making a decision like this, you just have to strip away all of those other things that you think you have to think about. And just focus on, like, what do you actually want to do? As, Songhwa asked Ikjun on episode 10, the iconic episode 10 breakfast scene, like, what do you do for yourself? And his answer was literally spending time with her. That scene drove me nuts. Like, that was finally the confirmation that, oh my god, this is happening. But I think Songhwa's hesitation is coming from not knowing that it's been mutual all this time. And like seeing Ikjun, Ikjun being himself, Ikjun being this forward must be so surprising and so sudden to her. Because in her perspective, she's the one who's harbored these feelings so long ago and just let them die. But who knows if they're, rising back up from the ashes at this moment, because the timing is kind of right. As quote unquote research for this episode, I watched, the breakfast scene and the episode 6 flashback stuff and of course the iconic episode 12 confession. And like, I was afraid when I rewatched that confession scene because I thought that he was saying that he suddenly started to like her. But then, but he mentioned chickening out again, right? He said the word again, which tells her that he's thought about this before. Certainly before he got married and had a kid. So, I don't know, maybe the English subtitles might have affected that. Like, I was really reading every line, making sure that he didn't make it sound like this was sudden for him, okay? I was so scared because I think that's what she's afraid of. That's how I'm reading the situation. But hopefully she sees his sincerity and how they both just miss the timing. It's been 20 years and he is taking this huge leap forward to try with her. He just wants to try, to put it out there and let her make the decision because he would never force this on his friend because their friendship matters the most. And his son matters so much to him. And, this is a huge leap forward to try and change like the fabric of their relationship. But he's willing to do it because he doesn't want to miss out on the chance. We will see what happens in season 2 on June 17. But I don't think that Shin PD and writer Lee will hurt us by not making this work out. They won't do this to us. They won't. They will not do this to us. That is all I am hoping for. Like, just the thought of it, that they're not going to end up together after creating this painful, like, after creating this story for them and then thinking that they won't end up together, it's just driving me nuts. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm very hopeful. Okay, next couple is Jang Yeol and Ji-Hae-soo from It's Okay, That's Love. These two, my one true pairing. Okay, they have the best chemistry ever. Now, officially, they did not go from real to real. They were not officially dating in real life. But their chemistry is so good here that I have theories and headcanons on how they actually were together but they broke up for whatever reason. So everything I'm about to say now, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this extensively already on my episode on It's Okay, That's Love, episode 3. But all my feelings are coming back because I'm currently rewatching the show. Oh, I love them so much. I think what is really like sticking to me right now is that this is a relationship that's built on so much good communication. Like, it drives me absolutely crazy every time they fight and bicker or whatever, and then they talk about it after to clear things up. Like, is the bar this low that seeing two people in a relationship actually talking about their feelings instead of, bottling it all up and just drinking with their friends and ranting to everyone, like, is the bar so low that seeing two people communicating is just driving me crazy? Because they just, really, the bar is so low, but they're just they're the best. This is the best OTP. Even if Heisu was kind of like petty and annoying at the start, and to be honest, Yeol made some non-consensual moves on her, like when she was still dealing with a sex phobia, anxiety stuff. But wait. Before anyone drops this show because they think this is so icky and all that, like wait. They get better and better as the relationship progresses. Like, don't worry. It's not that kind of relationship or not that kind of K-drama. My favorite part of their story, of the message of their story, is how it says that some problems cannot be fixed by love. Like, okay, maybe Jesus' anxiety issues and her sex phobia, maybe, yes, in a way that can be fixed by love. Because she needed to remove the disgust and the negative moral evaluation of sex and other acts of intimacy. Like, she saw it as disgusting. She saw it as evil, right? And so, there are some people, of course, that are averse to sex. That's perfectly fine. But she has to like dissect that thought or that affect. Like, are you really averse to sex and intimate acts because you are, or is it because of some preconceived notions or some trauma that you've dealt with before? And the honest answer is that yeah, it's because of her trauma, because of her memories. And so she has to remove the negative affect and the negative evaluation of sex to get better and to live, I don't know, a fuller life. Would I say it's a fuller life? But like, it is keeping her from maintaining good relationships with other people. So maybe it's something that she has to deal with. And she could deal with it by associating those acts with something more positive, like love, right? At least that's my read on it. I don't know, I'm not a psychologist or whatever. But for Yeol's issues, they definitely cannot be fixed by love. And Heisu did the very best that she could by, taking him to other doctors instead of taking that burden for herself. Because honestly, the show easily could have gone in that direction. Like, she will fix him with love. Other K-dramas have done similarly unethical things before. But the best part about this show is that it's grounded in reality. And so is their love story. She will not fix him just with her love or just because she loves him so much. Because one, that's unethical, and two, it might not even help with his recovery. She understood that. She respected that. And even if it was hard to make that decision, and she was making the decision for him, right? He didn't know he had a problem. He didn't know he needed help. But she made that decision for him as a doctor, but not as his doctor. And that was just like, I didn't think I needed that in a K-drama. I didn't think I needed to see that, but I did. And I'm so grateful for it because it's such an important message, really, that although we want to be there for our loved ones and to, to let our love and care and concern for them, urge them to be better and try to quote unquote fix them, sometimes people need professional help. And as the loved ones, we can't really do anything about it. We have to direct them to the right people who can really help them. Thank you. It's okay, that's love. Thank you for showing that. I did not think we needed or I would ever get to see that in a K-drama, but thank you. And love, in this situation is kind of just a motivator, I guess. That's not a great term, but it helps someone, try to get better. And it helps one support each other and to want what is best for the other. Like, Heisu loves him so much and wants him to get better so much that she admits him into the hospital and keeps him away from her, even if it's so hard for the both of them, because she really wants what is best for him. Meanwhile, he loves Heisu so much that he's willing to let her go. That he's telling her, like, just go live your life. Don't wait for me. Don't wait for me to get better because we don't know when that's going to happen. I don't want to hold you back from living your life. So just go. And if I'm still here and you still want me, then let's do it. But I never want to hold you back. Even if it's uncertain if she will ever come back to him, right? But but she did. And gosh, I love them so much. Like, the story is just, this is a couple that needs to end up together. No ifs, buts, or maybes, they must end up together. They are also the closest I have to a rom-com couple, but honestly, the show leans very mellow at some point, so I don't exactly count it as a rom-com couple. Okay, next couple. Continuing the Jo In-sung and writer No Hee-kyung train, we have Park Wan and Soyeon-ha from Dear My Friends. So in this show, Soyeon-ha, Jo In-sung's character, is really just a love interest. And technically, he's just making a special appearance. He's not really a main cast member. So I really didn't expect like a deep internal journey from him. But with Park Wan, oh my god, I did not expect her to be so well written and so unlikable in so many ways. Trust me, she's really questionable at times. But her love for Yeon-ha kind of grounds all of that, or a little bit of that, in anguish and guilt and resentment and self-hate and self-destruction. Really. Like, it boggles my mind to think of how deeply their issues are written. And these characters are so rich and full of like pain. And yet they continue living normally, as normally as they could despite everything they've gone through. I just absolutely love the writing of the characters here. But specifically, their relationship. Like, I cannot say much about Yeon-ha because he's really just, the love interest that's far away from Park Wan. But she goes through a lot just to find the courage, really, or to take that leap and to go back to him. One of the greatest moments in this entire show, full of so many great moments, is when Wan suddenly flew to Slovenia to visit Yeon-ha years after she left him, by the way. And, initially when she came in, he was unenthusiastic. Like, the response was so lukewarm. And she thought, like, is he not happy to see me? Was this a mistake? Should I not have surprised him and then just get disappointed like this? So when she had a nosebleed because she had jet lag and she just had barely any sleep, so she went to the bathroom to clean up, and then she saw so many like his and hers toiletries, toothbrushes, towels, bathrobes, and all that. And I thought, when I saw that scene, like, my heart dropped to my stomach because I thought Yeon had been dating this girl for a while. They've been telling each other about that because they're technically broken up, but not really. And so he's been telling her about the girl that he's been dating. And I thought, oh my god, is he in a serious enough relationship that girl has moved in some of her things into his apartment? It really, like, my heart broke for her. And then one went out and screamed at him and said, like, why would you scare me like that? Because apparently those were all of her things. All of those. He kept it after all these years, not even knowing if she was ever going to come back. And that was the big confirmation that yes, they still have a chance. Because, yes, they both still want to be together. Like, the waiting, it boggles my mind. How can someone be that patient? How can someone love another person so much without any guarantee that it will pay off? Despite all the pain, in both of their lives, honestly. Like, it just broke me in the best possible way. I don't cry over romantic stuff that much, but that moment really got me. Like, I cannot believe I was sobbing over, seeing someone's like toothbrush still there, even if that may be nasty, it probably has mold or whatever. But just the thought that the waiting was worth it. This completely uncertain period of their time when they both didn't know. What was the point of all this all the video calls we're making, all the updates we share about our lives. Why are we acting like this? Will this ever pay off? Will either of us ever find the courage to, go to each other again? And though the burden of that is on one, honestly. Like, she's the one who left him. She should be the one to come back. Their relationship confused me for so long because I didn't understand what was really going on. Is this an open relationship? But it wasn't, okay? It was just so much more complicated than that. It's a relationship that has so much uncertainty. Like, will they ever be able to make it? Will this finally be their true breaking point? Like, whatever series of things that happens. Is it even worth it going back to their relationship after everything that they've been through? But you as a viewer, or well, me as a viewer, I want to believe, and I have to believe, that their love will transcend all the time and the distance that they spent apart and all the things that prevented them from pursuing this fully. Which, by the way, the things that kept them from each other are so deep. Like, they're so... If I were in their shoes, if I were in one's shoes, I too would be unable to make that decision to choose him, really. That's why, I relate to it. Well, I don't relate to it, but I can empathize with it. Because, in her shoes, I think I would be struggling with making that choice as well. It's not because, she didn't love him so much or didn't love him enough, but there are just so many external things keeping her from making that choice finally. And so when she does make that choice, when she takes that leap, when she finds the courage, it's so earned. Like, they deserve this happiness because she has finally, it's not gotten over those issues, really. They're still kind of there. But she has said, F it, I'll go, I'll do what I want, I love him, I'll go back to him. And so it feels so earned. And then when he makes that leap, because of course she has to go back to her normal life in Korea, when he makes that leap to go to her, to meet her not halfway, but to meet her completely on the opposite side of the world, or in a way that is meeting her halfway, because she was willing to make that huge leap towards him, and so he should be willing to do that for her as well. Like, that is meeting each other halfway, going the extreme for each other. I guess that's halfway, but totally earned. At some point I was really afraid that they wouldn't end up together, but when her going to Slovenia and seeing all of that in his bathroom, like, when that happened, I was sure they're going to hurt me somehow before they get that ending, but they're going to be together. I firmly believe it. So, on the complete opposite side of the spectrum from everyone else, we have Tagon and Taealha from Arthdal Chronicles. Oh, I love this couple so much, you have no idea. So, there was a quote from the finale of Vincenzo where Vincenzo said, "Villains never break up because they're tenacious, even when they love." End quote. And all I thought when he said that, when Song Joong-ki, Unsam Mensaya himself said that, I could only think about Tagon and Taealha, honestly. Like, these two people, they're kind of terrible. Like, in any other K-drama, they would have been the villains, okay? Not the protagonists. And some people may still see them as the villains of this show. But really, they're just anti-heroes who are selfish and vicious and power-hungry. But the only thing that they have for themselves, truly, the thing that they truly want, despite everything else, is each other. And they will scheme and kill and find every possible way to gain power while still having each other. Now, that's a power couple. Because some people, when they encounter struggles, they just give up. It's like, oh, I can't have you. Okay. But here, it's like, Tagon literally had to marry someone from the Asa clan. Okay, here's a Arthdal Chronicles spoiler or lesson, whatever. So Tagon literally had to marry someone from the Asa clan because the Asa clan is in charge of like the religious aspect of the Arthdal union, and so it's kind of symbolic that the military power and the religious power are united in hell, giving him the authority really to lead the union, to become the Niruha. Yes. And so, at that point, he met Taealha in their special place or whatever and said that, I have to do it. I gotta do it. And then she's like, okay. I don't remember exactly how this conversation went. It's just kind of like, well, okay, I guess I can't be your wife. Noted, with thanks, but I guess we still have to continue with our plans. You still have to be king, and I'm going to be the leader of my clan, my tribe, because I want power too. Like, she's not just going to let him go and like, feel like her world is over, her life is over because she can't have him. Like, it's fine. I mean, sad, but this doesn't have to be the end for us. We still have so much to accomplish, whether we can do it together or apart. So yeah, they will scheme and kill and find every possible way to gain power while still having each other. I cannot help but root for that. Like, okay, you do what you have to do to be together, man. It's fine. I respect the grind. And I really love how the show treats them as two equally strong people. Just because Taealha is helping him become king, that doesn't mean she's like a lesser or a weaker character. She is still her own person, but her goal just happens to be helping him to achieve power for the both of them. But as I mentioned in my Arthdal Chronicles episode, when he becomes king and she becomes queen, she didn't become queen, just out of her relationship with him, just because he married her or chose to make her his queen. No, she's also a queen because she has power and influence of her own right that she has earned. So she is never a lesser person to him just because she is helping him with his goal. And that's a true power couple. Just the thought of like, after everything they've been through, all the terrible things they've done and all of the terrible things that actually happened to them and how people have treated them, like, don't they deserve each other? In the best and worst ways, like, they deserve to be together. And so I will always respect Tagon and Taealha because, you know what? They are villains who are tenacious in love. And they deserve that. So now we have our last couple. Hwang Si Mok and Han Yeo Jin from Stranger. That's right. My last favorite couple is the only fanon couple I ship, which means that nothing has canonically happened between them. However, I love this. I love them. In a kind of, character study way. I love it because I genuinely cannot grasp how Hwang Si Mok's mind works. Like, as a psych major, studying emotion and motivation at the moment, I am just thinking so deeply on like, how does he live? What drives him? What are his drives? Like, what motivates this person to even do what he does? And it drives me even crazier, trying to think of how and why Yeo Jin is able to get all these reactions from him, even when they weren't that close yet in season 1. Like, the micro expressions, the little smiles or the frowns or grimace or whatever, like, there's nuance in those little expressions, which, one, thank you, Chosung. You absolutely deserve that best actor win. I don't know how he was able to pull that off with so much nuance, and yet you understand that all those little expressions mean so much for Hwang Si Mok's character, right? And it just boggles my mind to think of how Yeo Jin was able to get through to him, right? To want to elicit those from him and to understand how rare it is for him to express those emotions. Like, just the thought that someone is able to keep up with him and is trying to understand him genuinely, that's enough to make me love them so, so, so much. I also really love how they're both just trying to do their best in their respective institutions, and how they're kind of the paragons of goodness and righteousness despite all the corruption and dirty tricks going on around them. Season 2 Yojin, she was moving up the ranks, yeah, but she was growing more and more disillusioned in what she was doing and what they as an institution were doing. But Shimok was there to remind her who she actually was and what she stood for. Like, even questioning, that the Yojin I know wouldn't do that or wouldn't think that way. I don't know if that's exactly the line, but I know that the scene in the car. I know the scene. Anyway, just the thought that he also was able to understand her and to know that this doesn't seem like you based on how I know you. And it's not really coming from an accusatory way. It's like, oh, so you're corrupt now, huh? You're one of them now, huh? Like, knowing Shimok, there's really no moral evaluation from that statement. He's really just stating what he thinks, that he doesn't think this is how Yojin would act based on how he knew her. Matter of fact, no judgment there. But that was kind of a bit of a wake-up call, I guess, for Yojin to realize how much this entire situation and what she's had to do has changed her, and to evaluate, like, does she want that change? Does she want to rise up in rank and all that and achieve all of this at the cost of, I don't know, her moral compass, maybe? Oh, I love that. I love how season 2 put them against each other, right? Police versus prosecutors. Of course, they had to fill their roles. But when they had something that they could work on together, finding Dongjae or uncovering whatever mystery, they had no hesitations to work together because it's that natural to them. Even if Han Yeo Jin's boss, Choibit, told her to do this, to go there and figure whatever happened out, to, find a way to spin it for the police's favor. And, Hwang Si Mok's boss told him to go there and find a way to spin it to favor the prosecutors. When they meet at that place and figure out that there's something wrong here, there is some truth to be uncovered here, those walls are immediately just gone. Like, they don't care about each other's agenda anymore. They just have to help each other. Hwang Si Mok, that's easy for him because he is who he is. He does not doubt. I mean, he just does what must be done, right? And Han Yeo Jin is the one who, has to think about, should she play the game? Should she really stay that loyal at the cost of finding out the truth and saving this life or finding Dongjae or whatever? Like, she's the one who has to make more of a decision about what she's really going to do. But Hwang Si Mok is straight and narrow. Their relationship is so natural. And yet, that for Hwang Si Mok, having such a natural relationship is so weird for him. And so it just boggles my mind to think of how he's really processing all of this and how he feels, what he feels, honestly. A lot of people say that this should stay platonic because we rarely get a relationship like this in K-dramas. And I respect that. I respect that opinion. I don't mind. It's a really great relationship, period, as it is. But, like, what are we going to do with all of this chemistry between them? Beiduna and Chosu, honestly, they drive me crazy. I cannot believe I see so much chemistry and there is nothing, supposedly. Like, as I imagined the Wang Han romantic stuff going on, it doesn't have to be all cheesy and kissy romance or whatever. Part of me is weirded out by the mere thought of that. But, like, a little acknowledgement that Hwang Si Mok's, limited range of emotions that he can express, just an acknowledgement that it can include love, that's enough for me. Just to know that he feels love, he knows love, and he can express love in whatever way he's able to do it, and in a way that Yeojin can probably figure out because she knows him so well for some strange reason. You know what? That's enough for me. I'm not mad at that. The fact that he can even maintain a relationship. I mentioned this earlier, I think. The fact that he can maintain a relationship knowing how he is, knowing how people just don't understand him, and how Yeojin was able to get on his level and be, the kind of person that stays in his life. That's a huge step forward for him. And I think, the possibility of this romantic stuff happening, I think it will add even more depth to what little we understand about him. Because, love involves so many other emotions and motivations and all that. Like, it's just so complex, really. And it would be interesting to see how love plays a role in Hwang Si Mok's life. On Yeojin's side, I don't exactly know how this will play a role in her journey, but we will see what she deals with and how she will develop in season 3. Yes, I am speaking as if season 3 is definitely going to happen in 2022 or 2023, whenever writer Lee Soo-yoon is ready. We will be ready for her. So that's it for me today. These are all the couples I love the most in the, let me check quickly, in the 57 K-dramas that I have watched. I have picked out 5 that I definitely love and support. Honestly, I'm just a super jaded person. And I don't relate to these stories at all. Like, have not been there and have not done that. So I just don't get it. It's hard for me to find couples that I root for, period. But it's really hard for me to find couples that I root for as much as these guys. And, I mentioned earlier that I have an aversion to rom-coms in general because it's kind of how I stereotyped K-dramas before I became a fan. Now look at me, look at everything I have, felt and learned and analyzed and even just thought about with all the shows that I've watched. All the relationships I've evaluated, all the characters I've tried to understand. I was totally wrong. 2016 me was totally wrong about K-dramas. I don't know if I would have this much appreciation for it if I started earlier, if I rode the hype of other shows that, came before. Because I feel like appreciating things in the past instead of things that are in the present, I see it differently from those that were caught up, in the zeitgeist of it all. So I don't entirely regret not being a K-drama fan earlier. I think this was the perfect time for me to get into this. But yes, going back to, stereotyping K-dramas, there's so many amazing genres out there. Once again, slice of life. I have never watched slice of life in Western shows before. Right? That's my favorite genre in K-dramas. When I was watching Western shows, I really like comedies because their humor was a hit with me. I understood their humor. I understood their references and why things were supposed to be funny in that line or in that scene. I just don't have that kind of appreciation with K-dramas and Korean culture and their references and all that. But, on the other way, Western shows don't have slice of life. I've watched very few where it's just someone going through life. I mean, some things happened, but they're just going through life. That's not very common in Western shows. And that's really sad because that's something I wish I could see. I think even if I live in a very different culture from Western shows, I think I'd be able to understand that because I think we are all just trying to live life, and it doesn't have to be extremely dramatic or extremely filled with sex and drugs and alcohol. I don't know why I watched this one Western show recently and it's just full of women talking about sex and I'm like, why? Do you guys have nothing to do, nothing to talk about aside from that? I'm sure you do. Anyway, sorry, I digress. I just wish there were more slice of life shows in Western media. I don't know. Maybe you could recommend me something if you know of anything. You know what I mean about slice of life. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, yeah, I don't think rom-coms, I don't think that's the genre for me. I think also maybe I haven't found one that I really love, and I think I'm staying away from them because I don't want to go back into the mindset of stereotyping K-dramas, or like, looking down on K-dramas again, because you know what, I was right before. Rom-coms are very popular and they're also very, not good. I don't want to be in that mindset. There's so much to learn and to analyze and understand, and at the moment, I'm not finding that in romantic comedies. Anyway, sorry, going back to, the K-drama couples spiel. I think I just like love lines. I mean, I do like romance. Most of the time, I just accept it. I don't entirely love it. These are the few couples and love lines that I love. I think I like love lines when they explain something about the characters, and or they help them grow and develop further because of their relationship. But I am so turned off when it feels like the struggle is just the relationship itself and not much else. Like, it's either getting together, period, or having the other person notice them, or I'm just not interested in it. Like, yeah, if you strip away, the getting together aspect, what is going on with these characters? What are they really dealing with aside from not being with this person? If there's no solid answer, it's a no from me. Okay. So if you have, a quote unquote typical rom-com recommendation that you think will meet my very picky standards, or not, maybe it will be exactly what I want to bash, but I'm trying to be more open-minded here. I think I have to diversify and watch more things that are out of my usual standards. Anyway, if you have any of those recommendations, feel free to suggest in the comment section on YouTube or Facebook, or even send a private message to the Facebook page. I always reply to those. And also, if you have a question you'd like me to discuss on the podcast, send them as well, and I will see if I have enough opinions to make a 40-minute to an hour-long episode about it. But, knowing me, I probably can. With all the thoughts and opinions I have in this little head, I probably can. So just go ahead, send me whatever questions you have, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to some recommendations, because I really do need to change up like what I watch. I need to watch more historical shows. I'm really looking at sagoks right now, or makjangs even, but they're just so long. We'll see what I end up watching next after Fight for My Way. I'm also tired of crying, so I will have to postpone Move to Heaven for a while, because I'm really not emotionally ready for that. I think Dear My Friends scarred me, scarred my tear ducts. I have not cried much ever since that day that I watched 8 episodes straight. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you soon.